live stream, your own destination to get trade, live stream, your own destination to trade and investing ideas, get trade and investing ideas by experts. My name is Neha Vashisht, and today we have a very special guest, Mr. Kranti Batini from WealthMills Private Limited. Mr. Kranti, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Neha. Thanks for inviting me on your show.
So, Mr. Kranti, my first question is that this week the stock market was mostly in the red, but towards the end of the week we saw some respite for the investors as it shifted to the greener side. I want to know your views on this week's market situation.
Neha, if you see the current trend in the market was they were in a negative territory throughout the week, and market have been consecutively, they came down nearly 8 to 9 trading sessions, and completely markets were under the bear grip, what we can envisage in the market. But once the market touched such a kind of selling zone, markets are were in a oversold zone, and any kind of positivity that brings the news creeps into the market, that gives definitely a booster stroke to the market. That's what really happened in today's market currently. That's how the Nifty could able to bounce back from a level of 17,300 to it went up to the 17,500 levels. So this is the major trigger for the markets. If you ask me, Kranti, the markets are out of the woods, are out of the negative territory. Markets have been spending in a consolidation phase. Of course, we have been what we are witnessing in the market is markets are not only in a time-wise correction and also in points-wise correction. That's what we are witnessing in the market at this moment. As long as Nifty is below 18,000 levels, there is a kind of dichotomy in the market. The negative sentiments dominates the markets as long as we are below 18,000 Nifty levels.
Right. And since we're talking about the levels, the market fell below the budget day low of 17,353 also this week. But it also bounced back. Do you think the market will sustain?
Neha, see, there are a couple of factors are involved. In the medium term, market runs on sentiment and also the valuations and the liquidity. Coming to the sentiment, of course, the sentiment is neutral right now. I can't say completely positive at this point of time. There is a mixed sentiment right now at this point of time. Coming to the valuations, the India's valuations relatively at a fair value zone if you compare on a longer term basis. But if you compare the India's valuation relatively in a medium to short term, there are some markets like China, Korea, in the emerging market space, they are placed attractively. That's where the real hot money that's supposed to come to India, that is getting channelized and going out of from Indian territory and getting into those markets. So at this point of time, on a relatively longer term basis, India's valuations are attractive at this point of time. But a medium to short term, the hot money is not coming to the Indian markets. That's where the liquidity and the valuation constraints are right now. What we can see is for a longer term basis, the long only funds, they have been selectively buying in Indian markets.
Right.
That's where the consolidation is happening in Indian market.
Right. And if we focus on the data a little bit, and if we consider the data till March 2nd or yesterday, Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports and SEZ, Asian Paints, Coal India, Power Grid ended in the green, whereas Bajaj Auto, UPL, Tata Steel, Infosys and Cipla were in the red. So what is your take on that?
See, the stocks what you mentioned, which are closed in the green, like Adani Enterprises, the whole saga is revolving around the Adani Enterprises. Whenever the positive news that creeps into the market, the stocks have been going up, and when there is a negative news, the stocks have been coming down. The entire saga of Adani Group. As you are aware, these stocks are a high beta territory, and people with a high risk appetite only definitely they can venture into the names mentioned like Adani Enterprises and Adani Group shares. But normally retail investors who don't like the volatility, who don't want a volatility in their portfolio, definitely they can stay away from these stocks, because the stocks are highly volatile in their nature, and also valuations obscurity is there for majority of the companies in the group. So coming to the names like Asian Paint, this is the stock of all seasons. Whenever the crude sustains and at this point at the level of 70 to 70 $70 per barrel. Okay, Asian paints tend to take the advantage, and also as the infra improves, as the construction is on a front foot, and as we are entering into the summer, okay, the construction activity and the renovation activity takes a faster pace. So stocks like Asian Paints tend to outperform. But investors need to keep in mind the stock like Asian Paints, whenever there is a dip, rather than going out of the stock, investors try to accumulate these kind of quality names in their portfolio on a longer term basis.
Right. And if we want to talk about sectors, this week's data till Thursday closing shows that Nifty Realty, PSU Bank, CPSC Defense saw a growth of around 1.2 to 6.7% in comparison to the Nifty Auto, FMCG, Pharma, etc. that fell 1 to 2.6%. Which sectors should the investors focus in the coming week?
Neha, just for an investment for a week is a relatively a lesser trading span. But whereas the investors definitely, because defense stocks after the Bangalore Aero exhibition and the defense exhibition, okay, defense stock have been on limelight and they outperform stocks like Hindustan Aeronautics, Mazgam Dockyard, and Garden Reach Shipyard. These are the companies. I'm just naming a few. Okay, there is a lot of defense altogether emerged as a new air sector in India right now.
Right.
So any underperformance in these stocks are at dips. Investors can definitely they can accumulate in their portfolio. But as Nifty started in a positive territory right now, definitely investors can look for stocks in banking sector and also stocks in IT also, because right now IT is a complete like contrarian bet right at this point of time, because the numbers, one hand they're coming positive from US. So when the US economy is showing the strength, one of the sector that's going to benefit is IT. Of course, it's a contrarian view at this point of time, because some people are quite bearish on IT, but definitely a contrarian view will play a key role for the investors in IT, because if you see the longer term data of 10 to 20 years data, IT stocks have been outperforming the other peers in the space. So definitely investors they can look forward investing in banking and financial services, IT, as well as investors can look the defense sector, the names what we mentioned. And also going ahead for the week, investors can look at stocks in capital goods also going to do well in the coming days.
Right. And I think if we consider current market situation also, I think it's better for the retail investors to go for longer term rather than short term decisions for stocks. So my last question to you is that, as we all know, Holi is just around the corner. So which stocks or sectors would you actually recommend for the investors?
Neha, we have Holi and we are also entering into the summer season.
Yeah.
So the stocks investors definitely can look forward for the coming days in the coming phases. Stocks which are in beverages like Varun Beverages. If at all any dip that comes in the stocks, definitely they can utilize the weakness in the market in the medium to short term. They can accumulate the stocks, and also stocks which are stocks like Raymond, because the stocks are into reality and also in the space of the complete man, the garments space. Any dip in the stock also one can accumulate in their portfolio. Coming to the summer as a stock, as you mentioned, Holi and the summer, one can keep in their portfolio, in their watch list, stocks like Havells India, Symphony, and also stocks like Voltas. They can keep in their portfolio for a medium to longer term basis.
Okay. Well, on that note, we will be ending today's live stream. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Kranti. And I also want to thank the viewers for joining us. Do stay logged on to ET Markets live stream for more investment and trading ideas. Thank you so much, Mr. Kranti, once again for joining us.
Thank you, Neha. Always pleasure.